Well, hola from Mexico. I'm Bob Henderson. I'm the Nomad Dad for the Nomad Capitalist. We're on the shores of Lake Chapala in Ajijic, Mexico, in the state of Jalisco. And Ajijic is a little town, dusty old town of about 11,000 people. I'm told there are maybe 3,500 U.S. and Canadian expats here at any given point in time. And the lake is the largest lake in Mexico. It goes about 50 miles from east to west, and there are a number of towns along the lake. Population 80,000, 85,000. Mild climate in the mountains, about 5,500 feet. Climate much like San Diego, I guess, with a rainy season in the summer. Very mild in the winter. So we're here to talk about today. I thought I'd talk a little bit about inflation and the government and the fact that we continually hear that this is transitory. I think the Federal Reserve realizes that this might last longer than they think. They may eventually lose control. As you know, in the late 1970s, it got so out of hand, inflation in the double digits, that we had, in my opinion, the best Fed chairman of my lifetime, a man named Paul Volcker, who was appointed by President Carter, and he slammed the brakes on, and interest rates went, I remember interest rate, because I was in the investment business, interest rates on money markets went from 10 to 20% overnight. Imagine getting 20% on a money market. You don't even get 0.20 on a money market today. You're almost at literally zero. Well, what this did was slam the brakes on the economy and basically killed the back of inflation. We had a serious recession in the early 80s as a result, 81, 82. But you know what? You do the unpopular, you do what has to be done, you take your recession. And then we had one of the greatest economies ever in the 1980s for a variety of reasons, and one of them was Volcker's courage. And I would give Carter some credit for appointing him as well. Do we have the courage to do that today? I sincerely doubt it. Sincerely doubt it. And frankly, let's be honest. They're not going to tell you this, but the government and the Fed, which are, I would say, being merged now, even though they're supposedly independent, but they're not going to tell you this, but more than 2% inflation, that's great for the government. That's just great. Why? Because with $28-30 trillion of debt plus all the off-the-books entitlement programs, so Social Security is probably $40 trillion in the hole, Medicare somewhere similar, and the fact that it's not on the books means that it's, could be chopped and not paid to you at some point in time, even though politically that'd be pretty difficult. But it is not a guarantee. It's an entitlement, not an absolute guarantee like the bondholders would have. If you hold the bond, you have to get paid back or they have to default, and then you've got maybe some rights there. But the government loves inflation because this is gonna chop away at the $30 trillion in debt. I mean, let's just use an example. Let's say you had continuing 6% inflation. You know the rule of 72, so you took 72 over 6. It tells you that if you earn 6%, it would take you 12 years to double your money. Conversely, it's true that if you had 6% inflation, $1 today, 12 years from now, will be worth 50 cents. So the government, this is a great way for them to inflate away the debt and maybe spend ever more money. And so, again, they're not going to tell you that, but this is one of the reasons that they're probably very happy to have the inflation. Now, if they continue to spend more and more and more, and as we've talked in previous weeks, that you can spend the money, but you're never going to raise the taxes you think you are. History tells you that you'll raise 70% of what you think you're going to raise, because people do act in their best interest. You raise taxes high enough, say on capital gains, people don't sell assets. Along comes Jimmy Carter in the late 70s, lowers capital gains rates, along with Jack Kemp and a guy named William Steiger, who helped to put that forward. You started getting more revenue. Bill Clinton in the late 1990s lowered the capital gains rate almost in half. And the revenue came in like a gusher into Washington, D.C. because people all selling their stocks in Silicon Valley for massive gains and paying the tax. They pay 15%, they might not pay 30% or somewhere near that, plus the state tax. So, people, you spend more, you try to tax more, you'll never raise the revenue. So it may mean that with the social welfare state that they want, with all the entitlement programs nobody wants to tackle. You're going to have deficits that are going to put us way beyond $30 trillion. So the government has to have inflation because they're not going to default. They are not going to default on the debt. Just not going to happen. You'd lose the reserve currency status just like that if you do. But here's a way of hurting the middle and lower class with inflation. And the government gets to live to see another day, and the system remains intact, although, it's not built on a sturdy foundation. So I think inflation, there's a possibility, and I think in your investment portfolio, you might want to consider deflation happening, but I really think that the government is hell-bent on seeing inflation above 2% for the very reasons that I have cited. We'll see. Glad you stopped by. I'm Bob Henderson. I'm the Nomad Dad for the Nomad Capitalist.